Hey guys, it's Kenny here from the Fantasy Golf Degenerates and the FantasyFanatics.com, bringing you my cash game cornerstones for the Open Championship. It's the third major of the year and it's one of my favorite tournaments, so I'm primed and ready to go. Before we get into it, let's recap last week's picks from the John Deere Classic. My four picks were Kyle Stanley, Ben Martin, Chad Campbell, and Wesley Bryan. All four made the cut, so that's solid. Stanley disappointed just a little, shooting -7 and finishing in 55th. He just couldn't get anything going on the weekend. Ben Martin had an average week, shooting -10 and finished in 39th. Chad Campbell played well, shooting -13 and finishing in 12th. And Wesley Bryan had a really good week, shooting -16 and finishing in 3rd. A fairly solid week, so let's try and use this momentum going forward to the Open Championship. The Open this year is going to be played at Royal Birkdale in Southport, England. It's a 7,156-yard par 70 course with 4 par 3s and 2 par 5s, both of which are on the last 4 holes. So the finish could be very exciting come Sunday. Off the tee, golfers will see very flat, narrow fairways with dangerous fairway bunkers guarding the landing zones. You definitely don't want to miss the fairway because the surrounding rough is anything but flat. Tall sand dunes surround the fairway. Some of these sand dunes reach up to 25 feet tall, and the rough is around knee-high in length. On approach shots, golfers will see average-sized greens that are guarded in the front by deep pot bunkers. The bunkers are located in the front of the greens to shield them from the typical link-style run-up shot. There aren't too many bunkers past the midway point of most greens, so expect to see a lot of approaches go long when golfers miss. The greens are a blend of bent grass and fescue and should play on the slower side with a Stimpmeter rating of around 10.5 to 11. If you'd like a more detailed description of the course, check out my article on the Moosonomics part of rotocurve.com. The course preview is free to read. Some stats I'm looking for this week are strokes gained approach, strokes gained around the green, driving accuracy, par 4 scoring, and good drive percentage. On the FantasyFanatics.com cheat sheet, I'll be weighing stats at 50%, form at 40%, and course history at Open Championships at 10%. Now, let's get on to the picks. First up, it's going to be Sergio Garcia at $10,600. Sergio loves the Open Championship. He has stated in interviews that it's his favorite major tournament. He's made 15 of 17 cuts in his career as a pro at the Open Championship and has 10 top 10 finishes. He has an amazing blend of power and accuracy off the tee, and he's been one of the best drivers of the golf ball for at least the last decade. He's decent with his irons, good around the greens, and is 16th in the field in total birdies made during his last 12 rounds. The best player without a major monkey is off of his back, and he should be loose and ready to contend at his favorite tournament. Next up, it's Hideki Matsuyama at $9,500. Hideki is actually my pick to win the whole thing this week. He's fairly accurate off the tee, good with his irons, and has done well around the greens this year for the most part. His recent stats aren't the best comparatively to the rest of the golfers in this price range and up, but my gut says he's still winning. He's been performing well at majors recently with 4 top 11s in his last 6 majors played and was runner-up to Koepka a few weeks ago at the U.S. Open. So to me, it seems like he's always geared up and primed and ready to go for these majors. He wants to be, the first Japanese player to get one, and I think he will. He's made 3 of his 3 cuts at the Open, 3 of his last 4 cuts at the Open Championship in his career with a high finish of 6 a few years ago. The last 7 major winners have been first-timers, and I think Hideki will make it 8. Next up, it's going to be Ricky Fowler at $9,200. Fowler's been having the best season of his career with 8 top 10s worldwide, including a 9th place finish just last week on a links course in Scotland. A major win is coming for him soon, as he's now in the unenviable position as the best golfer in the world without a major. Fowler is so calm and cool that I don't think this is going to bother him. Unlike Sergio before he became Happy Sergio with the engagement to his wife. Sergio definitely didn't take it too well when he keep getting asked questions about his fault at major tournaments. He got that monkey off his back, and I think Fowler pretty soon, if not this week soon, is going to get a major victory. Fowler is my number 1 ranked golfer when it comes to stats on my Fantasy Fanatics model. And he's accurate off the tee, good with his approaches, makes a ton of birdies, and is good around the greens. He might be the highest owned golfer this week, but I don't care. I'll be overweight on him in GPPs, and he will be in my cash lineup. My final cash game cornerstone pick is going to be Matt Kuchar at $7,200. He's basically been a fixture on my cash game cornerstones videos for the last 2 years. I think he's probably the most person I've used the most in these videos, and he deserves it. He's such a consistent golfer. He leads the PGA Tour in top 25s since the year 2010. Kuchar's season-long stats show that he's great around the greens, accurate off the tee, plays par 4s well, and is good from the sand. Now, more recently, he's 6th in the field in strokes gained approach, 28th in strokes gained off the tee, 3rd in strokes gained tee to green, 16th in fairways gained, 1st in greens and regulation. And those 2 stats right there are something that you need this week at the Open Championship. Fairways and greens. Fairways and greens. And he's solid at that recently. He's also 3rd in bogey avoidance. And this is all in his last 12 rounds played. He has made his last 5 cuts at the Open Championship with a couple of top 15s. And has been doing well at majors this year with a 16th place finish at the U.S. Open and a 4th place finish at the Masters. So, let's recap my 4 cash game cornerstone picks for the Open Championship. They are going to be Sergio Garcia at $10,600, Hideki Matsuyama at $9,500, Ricky Fowler at $9,200, and Matt Kuchar at $7,200. I know what you're saying to yourself right now. These guys are going to be super chalk. Yeah, you're right. They are. But I do not play the ownership game in double-ups or 50-50s cash games. Guys are chalk for a reason. Everyone can see that things are lining up for them to do well at a specific tournament. Think about it. I seriously doubt any of these guys will miss the cut this week, but say one does. Let's say Fowler misses the cut and he's owned at a 60% clip in double-ups. That means if you get everyone else through, you'll be joining those other 60% of people in going 5 of 6 for that week. It's not like the other 40% will be perfect either. So let's say 10% get 6 of 6 through with Fowler missing the cut. That means you'll be competing with maybe 40 to 50% of other people in double-ups who have 5 of 6 through. You'll need to beat about half of them to cash. And it's a double-up, around half wins. So the odds are still similar. Now, if you do fade Fowler and he ends up doing extremely well, which that's what everyone's talking up, you're probably dead because 60% of the people in the double-up own him. Another thing you're probably asking yourself is why are you using 3 guys above 9K in cash? Well, as you can see by the prices, there are a ton of great cash options in the $6,600 to $7,000 range. Using these 4 golfers will leave you $13,500 under the cap, and you can easily finish the rest of your lineup with solid 7K golfers. So stars and scrubs, I have no problem with that in cash games this week and for most major tournaments. All right, guys, that's it for this week. Make sure you check out all the FantasyFanatics.com has to offer in their last 2 weeks of business. Also, check out the Fantasy Golf Degenerates podcast I host every week, my article on rotocurve.com, and my appearance on the Pat Mayo Hour Open Championship Super Show. Also, make sure to check out Moose Metzger's new site, Fantasy National Golf Club. It's where I got the majority of my information for this week. It's an amazing resource, and it's still free during its beta testing stage. If you guys have any questions, hit me up on Twitter at KendoVT. Good luck this week, and let's win some money.